of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. Verna? Here. Jay?
Present.
Heather? Present. And me? Susan is with notice, and Cheryl is absent. And now the agenda.
I would like to add an agenda item, number 4, 9.9.1, which is the evaluations. That needs to be an action item because after we have the meeting documentation, it needs to have board approval because that will be part of your employee file.
Okay. Thank you. So, we vote on that. Approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes. If nobody sees a problem, then we do not have to vote on those.
It's fine.
Thank you. Okay, call to audience. Hello, hi.
Glad you're here.
And now director's report.
Written report, a couple of things to highlight is, as you can see, the images that were developed for us that we should talk about. They will get nameplates, a little card that explains what it is and what it's built. So that is in process. No Express, we received a invoice from them for $11,040. So that brings our contract is $49,900. So prior bill was $16,314. So with this current bill, that brings us to $27,000. So over half. They will have the contracts ready. If the board is okay with it, I will go ahead and meet with them and sign those. And those are ready. We got our first library meeting. James joined us. We got a good start to our new collection. And it was a really neat, I really enjoyed meeting with all the staff this year to go over their evaluations and their goals and objectives. So that was really nice. It was really nice meeting with all of them. Any other questions?
I got a question and a comment. What is a CRIC routine machine?
Oh, cricket. A cricket machine.
I obviously don't know where I've been because
It's kind of a cross between a copy machine and a 3D printer. You can make, I'll say stuff. You can make images, letters. If you saw the pie display that Shauna did, the little voting jars, the stickers on voting jars, those were made with cricket. We have Rebecca on staff who is a cricket pro. So she's going to possibly do some public classes with it and teach people how to use them.
Wonderful.
And then we'll use it for signage and programming and displays. You can do different types of fabric, stickers, all kinds of stuff with it. So
It's a multi-purpose crafting tool.
yes.
Okay.
Good way to put it.
It's like the thing if you're a scrapbooker. Everybody that scrapbooks has to have them. I cannot. So you are right. Okay. You have one more thing, Verna?
Just a comment. I think we should send a special verbal thank you to Alan and Tina for all they have done. I know they're continue to be with us, but they have done so much. So if you could make sure that they get that message, we appreciate it.
Yeah, I think the online sales contribute quite a bit to the FOL. That'll be a big loss if those people aren't replaced.
We have had someone step up that's interested. I don't want to say names that you all know of her, but she's interested. Someone on the.
Hook somebody in. Okay, thank you, Laura. Jay?
Okay, so we have the check register on page 78. The things that may have jumped out to you, some of the larger expenditures. We have the annual contract with Microtech that was signed last year, and the invoice has been now paid for $17,850. Starting to see some repairs there. Large snow removal bill for the month. Of course, utilities are also always interesting. Are there any questions or comments anyone has about page 7 and 8 check register?
I have one question. There's, it says check 25585, just curious what that's for. It's almost to the bottom on 120.
Melissa, mileage for the tail end meeting?
No, it just says CK 25585. I was just curious what that's for. It's a $45 check.
Oh, 25585?
Yeah.
Just Melissa going to the
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
mileage.
It just didn't, it just showed up in a different line then.
Oh,
Because I
see
saw,
what you're saying.
yeah, I saw the one for the side. I was just making sure that that was.
Okay.
So that's that.
Is it listed twice? Is that true? Or-
Kathleen has the answer.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Jay, I meant to call you this before, and I completely forgot. That was, it's not our check, it's a reimbursement check, because, or not a reimbursement check. Check number 25585, the bank that cashed it charged us $45 more than what was written on it for some reason. So we got $45 back. Okay. That's why, if you look at the end, it's $41 versus that. It was a mistake.
Okay.
That the bank had to fix for us.
I figured there was an explanation.
Yeah.
I was just curious what that was.
Okay. Going on to page 9 is the balance sheet. As of the end of January. Any questions on that? No, I don't see anything. And then we have the income statement for January on pages 10 through 12. Again, on page 11, you'll see in the middle there, on the professional services, the IT contract for $17,850 is paid. Going down a little bit further, $7,424 for property and liability insurance. Got the utilities on page 12, which are always a good number. Any questions on that?
No questions, just a reminder that we need to really keep an eye on the utilities. I don't mind, every time I pay a utility now, my checking account goes, this is more than you usually pay.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty good. Okay, I'll move to approve the expenses for January in the amount of $117,108.34.
I'll second that one.
Does this have to be, it's money,
Yes,
right?
right.
Okay, Verna?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Heather? Yes. And Jan, yes. Okay, motion passes. Okay, thank you, Jay. Committee reports, parking lot. Laura, is there anything else you want to add?
Just that I'm working with the DDA and the sheriff's department across the street, and hopefully the Bolinas to work out a plan for a place for programming places for parking. So it's a work in progress. But we're getting there. The pieces are coming together.
And there's a good possibility at the end of March we should have another meeting, a special meeting.
To sign the contract.
Paul, no, he had mentioned before we get started, we should get together.
We talked about having the board look at the book.
The contract.
That's right.
Yeah.
Contract book.
So should that be a special meeting or?
Let me see when it gets done,
Okay.
and go from there, and always.
Okay. Okay. Trustee recruitment. That would be me. Susan and I haven't formally done anything about this, but it's kind of something we're talking about all the time. If anybody else who is not on this committee has any ideas or names they want to think about, let me know. Okay, and now policies. Laura, that's you again.
The two policies that we have in the packet today are just our two miscellaneous policies that were numbered, so there's a correction for that. And then on page 14, the purchasing policy, there were some things in there that just didn't make sense. They don't match up with anything else in the policy, so those were stricken. And those were the only changes on those. With some corrections.
Okay, any concerns, any questions? Jay?
On page 13, under the words policy statement, it says to avoid exposing employees to identify. I think that should be identity theft, comma.
Where was that one?
The very first line under the word policy statement at the top. To avoid exposing employees to
Yep.
identity theft,
Yep.
comma, social security number shall be treated as confidential information.
Yep, good catch.
And then under number 3 on the same page, the second sentence, it says, not more than 4 sequential digits of a social security number will not be publicly displayed, uses an account number, password, or identifier. I was curious why the word password is in there. So it's saying in effect that you can use up to 4 digits, but not beyond 4 digits in your social.
Or a password?
Yeah, this isn't more than 4, will not be publicly displayed, uses an account number or password. You wouldn't really want them to use any, would you? So I was
No.
suggesting that perhaps that would come out,
Okay.
but if you think not.
Well, people set their own
Yeah.
password.
I don't wonder why it's even in here, because like I said, people set their own, it really has nothing to do with it.
Just to make sure nobody uses their whole password as a, or their whole security number as a password. I think
They shouldn't use any of it, is what,
true, but if they choose to, if they choose to use part of it, it's allowed.
okay. And then page 14, under minor purchases, any purchases of goods or services $5,000 or under when the specific appropriation has been specified. I would just take out the word specific.
Oh,
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
yeah. That makes sense.
And then last thing under section 3, emergency purchases, the very last line, full report shall be filed by the library director to the board within 30 days. I wondered why that was so long. Typically, we would have a board meeting there somewhere. 30 days seemed like a long time to go for a large emergency purchase that only the director and perhaps one board member might know about.
Full report should be filed. I think that's full report including all the costs that were entailed and that kind of thing. That might take some time to get put together. I'm guessing that's why it's 30 days.
It doesn't say it's all, it doesn't say the actual cost of what you're saying, that's why it's taking so long to find out what it actually is. Because what we're talking about is trying to give the board a heads up. Let's say we had to spend $50,000 tomorrow. We talk to Jan and she goes, yeah, let's do it. I think the board would want to know more quickly than 30 days. That's all I'm suggesting.
I would say, I agree with you, except this says shall be filed within 30 days. Maybe that's just giving a deadline for filing it. We'd all know ahead of time, for sure.
If you're comfortable with it, it just seemed like a long time.
And jumping into that same paragraph, I kind of questioned, why the president or the financial officer. My thought at first was, should be the president or the vice president. I'm not sure, how it's decided, who it should be, that would be notified as long as, certainly the president is, but,
Well, the financial officer may have more information though, based on sort of
I think that's a possibility. I think we've been gifted with a couple of financial officers in a row that are very qualified. Doesn't necessarily mean whoever gets elected in 2024, would be somebody who would necessarily be qualified in the way that you and Cheryl are.
Yeah. Irrespective of who's in the role, I think the potential officer, there are probably certain responsibilities that people might view that position should have.
Okay.
And so it makes sense to me to look into.
Oh, you won't forget next time.
Yeah, but it's just a thought I had when I was.
That's it.
Okay. Heather, anything else? Berna, anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, I'm good. Believe me, if there's an emergency, you'll all know within
Yeah.
2 seconds. From me, anyway, so.
Absolutely.
Nothing I want to hide.
This is, I think it's intended to give her the authority to just move ahead quickly, right?
Right.
Sometimes emergencies happen, you just have to react. Why call 5 people, you just call one.
I kind of wondered if this was added as for COVID. It sounds like a COVID part, and it was actually before COVID.
So I move that we adopt these policies as amended.
Okay, we need a second.
I'll second.
All right.
And just to clarify, can you kind of read back what the amendments are, which changes are made and not made?
The change from identify to identity, and to take out the word specific in minor purchases.
Okay.
I think that was it.
You can leave that 3rd page then. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, before we move forward, and I apologize, I meant to ask this, I wrote it down, I'm assuming that both of these were approved by the attorney first before you went to us?
I didn't make any structural changes. These are just corrections in wording. These things weren't supposed to be in the first place.
Okay.
But no, these did not go to the attorney. I didn't think there was enough changes to warrant that, but I can certainly sign them.
Okay, a thought,
They're very minor.
I know they're minor changes. My concern is we're now approving a policy and it's, 2 years later and things may have changed. So if we're approving a policy, do you think it might be a good idea to run it past our attorney just to make sure that there are no changes that have occurred?
Yeah, raise a good point.
Yeah.
And if we're going to do that, then I would question the 30 days on that, for sure.
Okay, so
30-day period.
I will amend my motion then
Okay.
to include pending attorney review.
Okay, thank you. And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. It passes. All right, professional development. Verna.
Everything. Get my stuff back in place here. Nothing to report this time. We haven't met.
Okay. Friends. Verna.
Okay, I would like to thank Cheryl because just the way it happened, both Susan and I, after we received the assignment, were busy and it was just a few days later. Cheryl did attend. She did provide a report, but I think she kind of reported out the last time on what happened with that, but I did want to thank her.
She reported the last time when? This would have been February.
Yeah, but we had a special meeting
Oh.
that she reported
Okay.
to us at the
Okay.
special meeting for
All
that
right.
had happened with it.
Great. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Student liaison. We did advertise with Rebecca's help on Facebook. And it was to no avail again. So my committee, we talked and we said we would like to try to put sort of an advertisement in the next newsletter. Would that be possible for summer? And give it a try there. And maybe Rebecca can help you with that and show you what she had put, or Jesse or whoever works on the newsletter. And then after that, we will reevaluate.
Could you send me a list of duties that might be included in that position?
Sure. Will you remind me?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right. That's all I have. Anything else, Jay? Okay. Heather? No? Okay. Advocacy, I believe Cheryl and Susan have that, so we'll probably table that.
Do we have an update on the video that they were doing? For the advocacy?
They're still with-
Okay. Finance.
Oh, just a question on that. The video, are we going to get to see it before they start using it?
I can read you now.
Thank you.
All right. Now, finance.
Okay, the Finance Committee met February 20th at the request of our director to cover a number of topics. I'll go through each of the topics. There are actually 5 of them, but I'll try to be quick here. The first was a quote from Goyette for repair. Is that in the package? I believe it is. Isn't that the invoice? It's on page
18.
18? I'll make reference to page 18. Laura can speak to the issues with the current units, but it involves the 10-ton HVAC units on the roof. And they're 23 years old, so they're past the life expectancy that was in our capital plan, which is about 20 years or so. So we discussed various options and decided it would be less risky rather than replace both of them right now, which is a very large $45,250. We thought it might make sense to just replace one of the units now for $23,400. The way that it would be replaced is that the order would be placed if the board approved it, and then it would be stored at Goyette for a period of time until the parking lot project is done, because of the need to have cranes and other kinds of mechanical equipment on the property. So if the board approved it, and Goyette ordered it, then they would agree, I believe, to store it, unless that's changed. And then we would have it installed roughly June, July, something in that time period. Both units are aged and could really go at any time. So there is a point to make whether it makes sense to just acquire one or to go ahead and acquire 2. Heather's come up with some information. She knows some people also in the business, so they're telling her it could take up to 40 weeks upon order to receive the unit. So one of the things we want to do is confirm from Goyette, are they able to actually get it that much quicker, or is it really we're looking at a 40-week time period? If we're looking at a 40-week time period, it does increase the risk that both units could possibly fail, not just one. So that was the discussion, and what I was going to do is make a motion tonight that we approve up to $25,000 to replace one of the units now. If we find out that it's going to take 40 weeks to replace both units or replace any of the units, we might want to revisit that and maybe have a special meeting, or at the next month meeting, authorize additional acquisition of additional items. So I'd like to move tonight, make a motion that we allocate $25,000 for purchase of one of the 10-ton units from Goyette.
Could I ask Kathleen, I know you have worked with these, would that be your recommendation? You're the one that kind of deals with that.
I think we need at least one. This one is the one that keeps going. Looking at past year's invoices on this one, the heat seems to be more of a problem than the AC. So allowing us to order it now and go ahead and store it if it comes in that quickly before we get done with parking lot, then, we have it and get it replaced over the summer. The finance committee, so we talked about it, and it felt like one is fine for now. And if one of the other ones goes bad, then They, no, okay, replace this one, then we order another one.
Do we have any idea how long this price is good for?
No,
Okay.
short answer, no. It's not like we can count on it in the fall, I wouldn't say.
It does say it could be withdrawn if not accepted within 15 days. Not that they would necessarily do that, but
Yeah,
They have the right to.
we're talking about it tonight and everything, so. But yeah, we'd have to get a new quote if you waited a month or two. Yeah. And everything, so, and you know, we gotta start replacing them all. And I know that was in the forecast before the big unit that I was looking at, and that was 75. So I was pleasantly surprised, even with the price of two, that it was only 45. So I'm good.
I think just to err on the side of caution, to at least have one on the way and have, even if it is in storage and we wait, if next month it goes out, at least we know which one on the way. Because if we, 2 months from now if it goes out, then we try to order it, then it's working, at least we know it's happening.
I think it would be possible that it could be installed at the same time as the parking lot, but they have to do a little coordination there, and you don't want people walking through a construction area where they're putting heavy equipment on the roof, and people are trying to get in the parking lot. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Heather?
So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
the question that I have then, if we're going to, we know that all four of them, correct?
Five units.
Well, one big one.
One
and
big
four
one,
small
four
ones.
small ones.
Right. So we know that they are all over the 20-year mark, yes? So what is the, looking forward, if we just do one now, when are we talking about doing the next, the ones after that?
Well, my original plan before this one was started was, okay, we'll do two small ones, then 1 year, next year, two small ones, and a big one, just because we had those compressors just, replaced, thank you. And, and that's a big cost for it, that one should be able to, again, hopefully keep the longest, and everything, but now if we're doing this, and we, scale it back, it's a little bit more of a toss-up, but I will say, the two that they want to replace, this one and the one to the youth department, because they're right next to each other, so we could use the same crane. The one in the youth department, we haven't had any problems with since I've been here. Since I started taking care of it. Since I started taking care of it, so, I would feel comfortable just replacing this one with the thought of, okay, yeah, it's getting us started, and like I said, this was just after another last year, so.
Is it reasonable to say one this year and one the next year, and then maybe two? Once we get past some of the parking lot expense, that's kind of.
It's, fingers crossed again, then could we wait 5 years before they are all replaced, Again, the youth, because there's this one, the youth department, these hallways here, and then the back staff area. And again, the other three haven't presented as much of a problem at all. So, again, feasibly, it hold out. Yeah, we could do 1 year and be with the big one. But that's in a perfect world.
Right.
Yeah, and the question also ties into the next topic I was going to cover, which is the capital replacement plan. We really need to have a thorough plan that's well thought out and funded. One of the things that we also talked about is our guidelines indicate we want to keep about 6 months of money in our fund balance. So, if we were to replace both of them right now we're a little bit below. Not that that's a bad thing to do that, but trying to balance all of that. So the motion's on the table for $25,000.
Okay, I still have a question too. If we do one at a time, it's more expensive, correct?
Well, based on this quote, Not as much as I thought,
Okay.
because the crane is a big expense. I thought, you know. But if you look at the single unit price is $23,400. If we did both of them, it's, well, 43, 45. They're contracted customer and stuff, but, you know, it's just below twice the price, so there's not that big a difference. So, and honestly, 25 a year sounds a little easier than 45 a year, you know? With this price, again, there's no guarantee it's gonna be that price next year.
So maybe the thought is we keep an eye on our finances and we get through the parking lot and maybe actually go for the second one later in the year
Very possible.
if we're not going to run under our.
We need to see the
our-
capital replacement
Right.
plan laid out, because there are other expenses as well.
That's good.
The last second motion.
Okay. This is a money, again, so, Jay,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Verna,
Yes.
and Jan, yes. Okay, motion passes.
Okay. Going on, the capital replacement plan, the purpose of the plan is to track major assets from the point of purchase until, throughout their useful life, until they're replaced or repaired over time. The condition of our major fixed assets in the library, one of the things that gives me comfort is there is a quarterly inspection going on. So we have some, I think, early warning if the engineers or the contractors seeing things that are of concern. The plan hasn't been fully updated, I think, since 2019. So it's been a few years. It's time to do that again. It's going to take a couple more months because there's so many things going on right now with the parking lot and a number of other things. So one of the things that concerns me is I'd kind of like to see an inspection of the roof, what the results are. That's 23 years old as well. And I don't know about your roof, but a lot of roofs don't last much longer than that. So we've got to be thinking about funding all these different things. So looking forward to getting an update about 2 months from now on the capital replacement plan. The fund balance at the end of December stood at $1,010,396. So if you look at our current budget for 2023, divide that by 12, that gives you our monthly expenses. When you look at 6 months' work, that's about $630,000. So we're right at kind of where we targeted that. Now, we can go below that if there's anything magic about keeping 6 months, but I think that's pretty way to operate the library. So that's the capital replacement plan. Any questions on that before I go on to the next item? Okay, we talked about the paid time off policy for staff. Laura and her staff have discussed some changes. Currently, I think full-time staff have about 60 days of sick time, which I thought was pretty generous. One of the drivers for making a change to policy was that maybe the part-time staff isn't treated the same way or doesn't have the same level of benefits, or should they become sick, don't have things that would take care of them. So Laura agreed to go back and develop a proposal for review. Both the finance and the policy committees would be involved in that. So we'll take a look at what's being proposed. And I think we've got to look at both the projected costs and also the furnace issue as well as the meeting. And then I think it's lastly, the investment fund change. Laura had received, or the staff had received a telephone call from our township treasurer, Scott Brogan. They had moved $1 million out of our Oakland County investment fund and put it into something called Michigan Class, CLASS, for a higher return. Apparently state law allows entities such as libraries to get together and to do this and have an investment class managing the cash. I haven't had time to look at exactly everything they put our money into, but apparently they invest in T-bills, which have a pretty high rate of interest right now, at least for now. And there may be some other kinds of funds that might be interesting for us to at least be aware of. Apparently Scott does have the authority under state law as township treasurer to do some of this stuff. And so I plan to give him a call. I haven't had a chance to talk with Cheryl. She's absent. And we'll talk and come up with some questions that we're comfortable with, Heather. And talk with Scott and then come back to the board and let you know the we have to really deal with two issues in this kind of environment. One is liquidity, that we can have access to money when we need it. The second one is safety. We don't want Scott putting money into things that have a high chance of, going belly up. We don't have to fund it anymore. Oh, and then lastly, the annual audit, that's already been covered in Laura's report. I think Patrick has finished the year-end accounting adjustments. Is that correct? I'd like to see a copy of that, if I could, please. And then the draft financial statements. What do you think? I want to see that.
This week.
Okay.
I got your email.
Great, all right. Well, I hadn't received anything back, so I didn't know, so I had to ask. Okay, that's it. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay. All right. 9.9 is evaluations, and we need a motion to close this meeting so we can go into a closed session.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And that will be at
5:38.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to?
Now we need a motion to,
I move that we accept the goals,
the director's evaluation.
director's evaluation as written.
Okay, do we have a second?
A second motion.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. All right. Okay, number 10, communication. If you like.
Communication is written communication.
Oh, that's
You're
written
waiting for public
communication.
comment.
Oh, sorry, I always do that, don't I? Okay. Unfinished business?
None.
None. New business? None. Okay. Statistics, library statistics. Oh, we didn't do staff reports. Thank you, you guys.
Madam Chair, I noticed on page 16 and 17 of that contact, we discussed.
We didn't discuss it, did we?
I think that was part of the advocacy committee, I might have put that.
Oh,
Just for our information.
That's why we didn't know if it was.
okay. As always, wonderful reports from the staff, so much going on. We're so proud of this library. We hear so many good things even from newcomers. Yes, we do. Okay.
On the staff reports, I have a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Oh, comment, Girls Stand Strong, funded by the BGYA. Really, really glad to see that. On Danielle's report, there was a snafu with my hydro dipping program. I
Yeah.
just want to know, what is a
Yeah.
hydro dipping program?
So in theory, you take a bucket of water and you dribble nail polish in it, and it kind of floats, kind of sinks, and you can dip ceramic into it, almost looks kind of drippy,
Okay.
tie-dye, kind of a,
Got it.
the nail polish wouldn't stick. So she did a practice one ahead of time, and it just didn't work out, so they ended up just eating the months or using the months or something else instead.
Yeah, there's a special kind of paint you have to use for that.
Yeah, I think she wasn't sure if it was the nail polish or what went wrong, but it just didn't work, so. They'll try it again.
And I do have one question. Sean, is the Penguin Random House Rural Small Libraries Grant, was there any feedback on that? I know the grants that I work on for the choir, if we don't get, in fact, all of the people who make the decision make comments about things that we need to do to get more money next year.
There wasn't anything, she forwarded the letter to me and just said, I'm sorry, you weren't. Yeah. There really wasn't any detail to it.
That's it.
That's it?
I'm done.
Jay?
I just, on page 19, Alyssa talks about the webinars and professional development. I'm counting 8 programs there. And it's a lot of professional development, so see people are really concentrating on that, bringing ideas and improve their skills.
Yeah, but I want to do all of them.
Yeah, looked interesting, didn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Jen.
Sure. Heather?
I'm really excited to try the spice of the month coming up. I can't wait for that. I love to cook and all that stuff anyways. And I will just say that my teenager is super excited for the Bob Seger story. So I think we're going to have to come to that.
I think they had that scheduled before COVID, and they had, like, right before COVID, and they had to cancel, so they were finally going to come back.
My daughter, like, she comes to the library and she pulls all the books for all the different musicians and reads those. And so she's super excited about that.
Oh, great.
But just great work, as usual. You know, I'm always so impressed when I read through everything. You know, I wish I could do it all. You know, it's really hard to do, but I find the time to do everything. But, you know, my kids love coming here. I love coming here. So, thanks. Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm sad that my grandkids are too old now to find time to be here. So that's been hard on me, but anyway.
I will just make one comment on Jesse's. We're doing the dial story, and they're looking for readers. So if there's any board members that would like to read,
Oh,
let me know.
wow.
I would that too.
Yeah, I would do it too.
Do you know when I moved out here in 98, I can't, but anyway, I came into the library and said, you know, I would like to volunteer to read. Somebody said to me, but you're not a librarian, you can't read to the kids.
Aw.
Well, that's just
Good. Okay, very good. All right, library statistics.
Looks like the early literacy sessions are off to a good start there. I think it's a really critical resource for our community to emphasize, early literature. It's early literacy in kids. And it's good to see that 355 people.
And Libby also, the checkouts for Libby. I know I've done that too. I love it. Okay, calendar review, strategic plan update in March. Anything else we want to add there? No?
We should have the contract for the,
it's not
parking lot.
From Allied?
We'll likely be talking about funding, moving some money from one account to another in March.
All right, now, public comment. Okay. All right.
If you have any comments you would like to make, feel free.
Okay, I know, I tried
Yeah.
last month. All right, on hold, how's those job descriptions going?
On hold.
They're still looking at my desk.
We understand.
Okay.
It will happen.
Okay,
The next agenda?
items for next agenda. Parking lot. Anything else? that we need to
Yeah,
do there?
that's whatever month.
Yeah, it certainly is. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So we'll
At
adjourn at
6:46.
6:46.
Yeah. All right.
We don't need to do motions on that, right? Just adjourn,
So, yeah, that's right, that's right.
And we're adjourned at 6:46.
Okay. Good job.
Lots of good work tonight, guys.
Yes.